Last time on Lawful Stupid. Strong Star Boys.
Kristoff got his powers back.
Only better than ever.
Only
Now,
better than ever.
I'm a super magic boy. And a god,
Also.
and a demon, and a dragon, and a prince.
And also, like,
Also in love.
officially no longer a paladin or rogue anymore. Those
Yeah,
have been
We
abandoned.
probably should have addressed that. Yeah, I respect Kristoff because I broke him so bad. I did a real bad break on my boy. And Dwayne was like, you can't have a boy that broke. And I was like, I know, right? And he was like, hold on a second, I got you. Don't worry, fam. I was like, thank you, Dwayne. You sustained me with nourishment. I'm just like a little baby. I'm like a little baby deer lost in the woods, and he's gathering dew from leaves in the woods. And he's like, don't worry, sweet child. I will nourish you.
My life is yours.
And if you want more of Chainsaw, you got it in that last episode.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to talk for the next 3 episodes
He
contractually.
just used up
You
all of
got
his
it.
talking points for this episode right then, just to do the recap.
Yeah. And then Atlas slept.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Everybody's a good
And
nap.
I don't remember what I did.
You healed a lot of
this-
people with the wind's loot.
Yeah, you were dungeon mom.
That
took
was
care of
that
everyone.
was 2 episodes
No,
ago.
you were
because
still-
No,
Yeah,
that was
it
still
never
this
stopped.
episode. It never stopped.
Guess
It
what?
wasn't that long.
It won't stop.
Yeah, it won't
Make you
stop.
guys-
Stop. Won't stop.
Make you guys
Mother
fucking bag lunches of your
Oh,
favorite
God.
snacks. Hard biscuits that I got from Allison with your names on them. And then little
I mean,
notes.
they definitely would be hard at this point, right? If they weren't hard biscuits before, they for sure are now.
Is Allison dead?
Let's just cut to the point.
Is Allison dead? That's like a really good question. But anyways, you guys like wake up from your slumber?
Oh, we're getting
Like
right into
Kristoff
it.
was like sleeping on an arcane cloud, and
Werewolves,
Atlas
wake up.
was sleeping. Yeah, you're now werewolves. Atlas was sleeping against the wall, and Rowan was playing them sweet music before he decided to meditate his way through life.
Oh yeah. Chill.
Oh, good morning, boys.
Morning.
I'm stuck in the...
Question mark? Yo, you are in fact Kristoff.
I am Ron Burgundy.
Who put that on the scroll? You know he reads everything off a scroll. Alright, boys, what do we do now? Where do we go from here?
That's some heavy questions for this early.
Well, I'm in breakfast. Like, where do we go to get some food? That's what I was...
That's real heavy. I think the inn's burnt down.
Don't remind me. Well, I had a good night's rest. I think my bumps, my bruises are all taken care of. I guess maybe we go talk to the Magister and see what we have left to offer here and see what else we can do.
Get some snacks.
Probably get some food, yes.
Is Allison around? Is she making biscuits still? I mean, it's not really her job. Does she have a job?
I mean, that kind of was her job.
It was a job, Rowan. Do you remember Allison at all?
Do you remember who... Do you know who I am?
Yeah, I am Kristoff Shindo, but you.
Yeah, okay, so if you guys want to get up out of your sleepy boy pants and look for
I don't wear pants.
the Magister and no, confirmed the Magister
I'm not wearing a
and or
shirt.
I'm going.
this whole episode going to be like this. Looking for
Everyone can see
either-
how hard my nipples are 100% of the time.
Can I get like a 1d4 damage with my hard nips?
I swear to God, no. As TM slowly takes a drink of his alcohol to deal with our shenanigans.
It's his 5th one in.
And as slowly takes a drink, I mean chugs the rest of his whiskey.
Alright, sorry, Dwayne.
So you guys want to look for some food and or find the Magister.
Yes.
Some vittles, yeah.
You guys. So what would you like to do first?
Vittles first, then
Vittles.
Magister.
All right. So yeah, you guys walk out of the cave, and there's definitely tents set up for some of the wounded that are outside, because obviously the cave housed the residents of Oxbane that remained, but with plenty of soldiers returning from Uri and the Battle of Oxbane, there's definitely more people around. But there's definitely fire pits and different scatterings of food. So you guys can like pick a grouping of people, or you guys can look for someone you know, or we can go up to randos. Totally up to you. Find a campfire and eat, boys.
Is there anything specific you guys want to look for? Do we want Allison? Or do you want to find Swan?
Probably Turinga, yeah?
Yes,
That's true.
Okay, so you guys go from like camp to camp, and you're looking, and it's people are pretty beat up, like overall, as you're kind of going through here, because you're seeing the Tor who have like mismatched armor and different like weapons, and then you're seeing the Arcanists who are pretty wiped out because like their whole bag was just to be giant magical batteries for a good portion of this battle, and then like some of the Hunter Guild, which I had a really cool name for.
The Guild,
it was like standard name.
Shoot, eat.
The Hunters.
The Hunter.
Yeah, it was super good, and I'm just gonna look at my notes, but it wasn't that great. So you see those people too, and it was literally the Guild of the Hunt. So you see the Guild of the Hunt and the Guild of the No Core, and the Red Sun people seem to be like in the best position, like as far as like damaged and stuff like that. And those who are damaged, they've kept out of sight. Like they're more about presentation than any of the other guilds. But you find yourself coming upon Sharinga's like campfire, so to speak, and you see Sharinga and Lance and Gid and Serjodo sitting with Alaria and Captain Tyndall and Avia. Avia. Yeah, so many A names. Avia. Yeah, Alaria. I was like, she's just a ghost with us.
She does whatever she wants to now. Yeah, she's like, oh, I'm a free independent ghost. I don't need no
sword.
They broke up.
I'm not staying with him.
Oh,
F that.
You know Captain Tyndall, right? We're an item now.
He's so much bigger and stronger than you, and redder than Kristoff.
He is clay colored.
Yeah, he would still be redder than, like, because
that's
he's not red at all.
Oh, I don't know what that means.
I don't know that's like is that a tiefling thing? Okay, cool. So yeah, and then as well as those people is first mate Zell, and they're all kind of together and having a jovial time, and you guys approach.
Real quick, about my guild of the fucking artifact nerds, are they here at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's very few of them, but yeah.
You're like the cool kid in that guild.
Yeah.
And nerds.
I would avoid them at all costs.
My guild of Lambda.
Well, you also think of it right, like
say
the whole point of like the Arcanist Guild is like they're looking for artifacts and out adventuring. Like they don't want to be around to fight this kind of dumb stuff. They're looking for artifacts. Now, little do they know.
I found 8 since this battle started, so
yeah, like they just missed a treasure trove of artifacts, right? Yeah. But there are definitely some Arcanists here.
Guys, just being clear, because I don't remember them being talked about, but I guess it's also
because they didn't serve an important role in combat, right?
Yeah. Well, I didn't know if they were just like, you guys have fun storming the city of Oxbane. They're just like...
They were talked about when you guys first rolled up, because they were talking about how it was an issue in the city that Axel actually had an artifact and was like openly brandishing it everywhere.
It's my hammer.
Oh. That sounds familiar. Anyway.
I imagine that's what like he walks up to people and says like, hey, what do you want to drink? It's my hammer. That's cool, but what do you want to drink? My hammer. I don't think so.
You can't drink a hammer.
I can't. You can't drink that.
I can. It was given to me by the gods.
Yep.
I want to take a look at this fire and kind of, if you said they're being jovial, so I'm looking around, I'm seeing the smiles, the warmth of the fire's there. People who weren't friends before are friends now, it seems. And I want to say, what time of day is it?
It's early. It's think so. You think it's probably like 11ish.
11ish.
Oh,
Wait,
super early.
AM or PM?
AM.
Yeah.
I would say, ladies and gentlemen, and loud enough so that they all would turn and look at me.
And they do.
I just want to say we've lost a lot in this battle. Definitely more than we ever intended to. But when I look around and I see all of you, despite the situation and the circumstances that we've been placed in, I know that there's hope. I know that there will be a time to rebuild. And I know that we will be the ones that will forge a new future, that will have the sun rise on a better day. And I'm just happy to call you friends. And I want to pull Kristoff and Rowan in close to me and say, I love you guys.
I'm giving him a big old hug.
I love you too.
And I think Tringa stands up and walks over and kind of gives you that forearm handshake and says, I'm not sure Oxbane would be here without you.
And you.
And you.
Kind of, I guess. But neither
And
here nor
Tringa
there.
says, yeah. And then like sits back down and resumes eating his food.
I will sit down next to him.
Yeah, there's like a pot over the fire, and there's like this like thick stew that they were making.
It's stew o'clock. It's time to do the stew.
And you guys just sit down, and I guess if you want food, you have food. Captain Tyndall and First Mate Zell are just like hammering back alcohol, like just going to town.
Oh, getting in on that.
Oh yeah, for sure. You walk over, and the first thing the captain does is like hands you his like captain stash,
The coolest
and like
dude.
hands it to you, and he says, "That's great, such a great captain. Letting your man give a speech like that, very captainly of you to not steal the limelight, as it were."
You know, as a captain, your words are precious. You don't want to waste them at any given breakfast.
And the captain says, "Yes, that remind." And First Mate says, "If only he could learn from his own advice."
Oh, we give advice. We don't take advice, especially from ourselves. It's a terrible idea.
And you hear Avia say, "That's the truth."
He's
And
a
she-
smart one.
That's why I brought along. Us captains, we know, keep people around us smarter than we.
Exactly, but not too much smarter.
Oh, yes, but never tell them.
No.
Why do you think I'm here?
You're so handsome. I can't stop myself. I'm like, you're my most handsome boy.
And Lance kind of like looks at you, and he's like leaning against this giant fiend sword, and says, "Yeah, big handsome boy. Maybe next time catch the sword." And like references like this his stomach, and is like, "Still hurts.
You did a pretty good job.
Ow."
Too soon, I'm sorry. You guys
I
just
mean, no,
started off with jokes.
it's the wound's healed up. It's still just
But look how
so
badass
fresh.
it is.
That's a pretty cool sky.
You're gonna definitely get at least like a +3 to fucking intimidations from now on, for sure.
yeah. But think of all the persuasion checks that aren't gonna go well.
Just keep your shirt on.
Unless you're trying to persuade them that you've seen some shit.
And you don't recommend it.
Confirmed. And Tringa says, "So, I guess we're gonna be taking another run at the town and kind of just slowly picking them off. I don't know that I'm up for another attack today, though. Hopefully we just contain and wait."
Yeah, that's the idea, yeah.
Yes.
They can't get
Exactly.
any more reinforcements now since the door is destroyed, and I think it's pretty safe to say there's no survivors in there at this point. Like, I mean, at first that was one of our large concerns, but then time had passed, and also we blew the shit out of that town with magic cannonballs.
Avia blew the shit up out of that town with magic cannonballs.
Specifically, Avia did, yes.
And Avia looks at you guys and goes, no. Technically, I was helping on the... No. That was the people on the ship, not me.
Pretty smart and modest, Captain.
Yes.
You know how to pick them.
Yeah, she's one of the brightest. And Lance says, are you guys going back today?
No.
And Sir Jodo, when you say that, like, he looks at you and goes, not interested in helping today?
Oh, I guess closing the door and locking it wasn't enough help. Shit.
You're right, we are not interested in helping today.
And the group just kind of looks at you, and Churinga says, I understand it. I don't think I was meant for a war. Personally.
Saying that you're a lover and not a fighter.
No, I signed up to be a guard, right? Like, war's a little different. Petty theft's one thing. Throwing some drunks in the jail cell, one thing. Fighting something twice my size with a giant sword? No, that's okay.
It's alright, Tringa. I found that a man can't know he's ready for anything until it happens. You can train and train, but until the battle is raged on, you just can't know. You've performed valiantly.
Well, I fought, and I now know I'm not interested in war.
I don't think anyone's interested in war. I mean, except Svan. He perhaps is probably interested in war, but...
Huh. War. What is it good for?
What is it good for?
Not absolutely nothing, in my opinion. I'd say it again, too.
You guys... Have you guys been drinking?
Nope.
What do you even have, Ben?
Not today.
Did you ever stop, Rowan?
I think I'd sleep sometime.
Okay. And, so Captain Tyndall looks and says... he kind of, like, stumbles over his words. The slur catching up with him and goes... I'm pretty sure that Frostfindle and Svan were looking for you three. But I'm not really sure. And he takes another swig of ale. That I didn't dream all of that.
That makes sense.
And first mate says, oh no, he super didn't dream that. He's super drunk. That happened. They're looking for you, and he's a terrible messenger. This is why he has us.
Thank you, Zell.
I just remembered Zell is a Goliath, and he has a much deeper voice than that. Oops.
Just edit in later. Just...
Yeah.
No, super won't.
Can we get
This
James
is the
Earl
behind the
Jones in on
scenes.
this podcast episode?
Yeah, can I get the Batman voice, which is just Dwayne but gruff, in? That's what I want.
McGruff.
Dwayne but gruff, not McGruff.
Dwayne McGruff takes a bite out of the crowd.
Yeah.
Chicago, Illinois, 60652.
Yep, that's just gonna be my Scooby-Doo impression. It'll be great. Dog where? Right. One of my favorite things is the Scooby-Doo movies where he just constantly did that, and they'd be like, "Hey, you and that dog? Dog where?" It's one of my favorites.
It's a good Scooby-Doo impersonation.
Fuck you. Why do I do this podcast? I hate everything about this. Yeah, no, it's fuck you guys. You do you.
Well, I guess
I
we
will
better go find the boys
Scooby-Doo
then.
do me.
But let's go find Frost and Findle.
Findle and Frost. And
Thank you for breakfast. You've all been a delight.
they're very delicious.
Thank you for sharing this ale that I'm now taking with me, and you can take it up with the Magister to get you a replacement.
Christoph, I have a question for you. When you bow like you just did, why do you rub your hand across the ground? I never understood that.
Oh, it's mostly just so they know exactly how low I'm bowing, low enough for my hand to scrape the ground. If I were to bow in a less low fashion, it would mean not quite as much respect, but my hand would be able to sweep freely through the air. It would be a more graceful scenario for me, but it wouldn't show that utmost respect to the person that I'm bowing to.
I like that. Okay. Now seemed like the good time to ask.
I could teach you.
I'd very much like that, but we should probably go see Finn first.
I could put you in a waistcoat and teach you how to dine and all the proper etiquette and circumstance, and then...
I would like that very much.
I'll think about it.
It would be like that scene in Anastasia.
Oh, that's a great story.
Yeah, it's a great play.
So we go find Boss Findle.
Yeah, so you guys go like camp to camp and tent to tent until you see Frost, Spawn, and Findle like talking around a table, and they've got some like different like trinkets and papers on the table, and they're chatting. And when you head towards them, Spawn says, "Boys, are we feeling better today?"
Very much so, yes.
Never better.
Get some much needed rest. Excellent. We've got a bit of a problem. The Magister didn't return.
Oh,
That is an issue. He owes us station in gold.
Well, he's not back, and we haven't found his body yet, but we also haven't taken another stroll through Oxbane.
Was he in Oxbane? He did not seem like the leader type.
Pretty sure he was showing face, as it were. I think he might have went a little too far for his own good. Got confident with a tour at his side. But
Even if he died, it's an honorable death for that.
Whoa,
he just
no
got
one
some
said he's
respect
dead,
for
Rowan.
that. He is.
No one said he's dead. He's probably dead, though, Spawn. Let's be real. He's not back. Findle, not so loud. Why? It's not like we're gonna start a panic. We've already been in war, Spawn. It can't get worse.
Oh, in my experience, you never say that.
No, it's fine. It can't get that much worse, Atlas.
Unbeknownst to us,
that's
the
a great
gate opens back up again.
That's true.
Oh, but we destroyed the key. It's gonna be great.
Anyways, we heard you.
Then the
had
sky opens up and
summoned us.
flying demons come down. They're exactly like the demons from before, except they have giant wings.
They're 3 times as big and have 8 arms.
All with swords.
I'll be right back. Just say all the
Where are you
horror
going, Findle?
cliches.
He's just very quickly running.
He moonwalks out of the room backwards.
All the way through the forest, through walls and shit, using his Findle powers, 5.9 3/4. He's just like straight gone in a beeline, backwards beeline.
This is not for me anymore.
Moonwalk.
Oxbane where? Bye-bye.
And Swan says to you guys, I was looking for you because we're going to need reinforcements. I know Oxbane is fine, but I'm not worried about just Oxbane. There has to be more to this. This door, it can't have been the only one. And it can't have been the only one in Yori. We're seeing several artifacts pop up in our area. That does not bode well for Orenthal.
It's pretty unusual, huh?
And I sent word for Henry, but haven't heard back. And
Henry?
that's also concerning.
That is very concerning.
Does Henry know about artifacts?
No, but he's one of my dearest friends, and he knows.
What? In my entire youth, my time with Henry, I have never known you to be friends with my father.
You've never once come over to my house for coffee and cake.
Ever. But birthdays, I did not see you there.
I understand.
Sorry, I was busy to go to fucking a kid's birthday party.
It's keeping the town safe.
I'm sorry, war. I chose not to come home from the war. But I fought alongside your father. And
I have a lot
As a
of questions.
soldier? That makes a lot of sense. He's a fucking
He's a
badass.
badass. Yeah.
it was not the life for him, but that's not the point. I sent a message and haven't heard back, and that's usually not the case with him. Usually I hear a little bit quicker than I have. But all the same.
Is there a chance with all the hubbub that maybe a message got lost?
Or maybe he saw there were demons over here the next town over, and he said, "Bye then. Goodbye. I will go elsewhere."
Not Henry, not the Henry I know. Not
No,
the Henry
not-
I met
not
for
Henry.
3 hours one day.
It's possible. But all the same, it's concerning not to hear back from Riverside. We're kind of getting similar treatment from some of the smaller towns. Balfort is a little bit further out, so I'm not surprised that we haven't heard back from them, but all the same,
Well, you don't think it can be
Something's going on.
superstitious? Do you think maybe they think, oh, Demon Town, they're cursed and just don't want to have anything to do with that?
I would be surprised that none of the people I trust in these other towns have returned my message, but it's possible.
Have you considered, when was the last time you wrote them before this?
And he kind of looks at the table and says, I don't think that's really important, Kristoff.
Maybe they just miffed at you. Maybe you're not a very good pen pal.
Anyways, about that book. About that book you owe somebody. Alright, you owe me a book, Kristoff.
I'm very glad that you asked, because I cast Wall of Water! then I cast Ray of Frost, and I make it an ice wall, and then I leave. Bye!
Alright, you do that. And Spawn looks at Vendel and Frost and says, oh, that was about as productive as every other time.
I'm
Wait,
sorry
what do
for
you-
my friend.
Yeah, do you guys need his book? We can just get the book back.
I would like my book, yes. But no, that's not why we asked you guys here.
Well, he went through an existential crisis, now he's like double powerful, and he's just... Every chance he gets, it's fucking Wall of Water, freezing it to ice, and then just runs off.
And Frost says, I'm kind of sad he came back. If that's what he's gonna do every single time he shows up.
That's our friend you're talking about.
It's been a day.
Frost doesn't know what I'm saying about him right now, but he does see me on the other side of the ice, just chiseling furiously with my dagger, just like...
Oh no, you already walked away. You can come back and chisel your ice. You just walk.
Yeah, Frost really
And
chisels
one
my
more thing.
eyes.
Turns back around, chiseling ice. He's real angry. Swan says to Atlas and Rowan and says, you guys have been so helpful. I was hoping you could check the neighboring towns and at least check in to see why there's no response.
I'd look over at Rowan and say, I don't know. I feel like part of me has to go and look, but I've got some heavy things on me I need to work out.
And Swan says, listen, I'm not asking you to go and come back, and I'm just asking you to go and make sure they send a message just so we know they can be accounted for. For all we know, something similar happened to them.
It's true.
And Bendel says, Swan, that's not really how these doors work, per se. And Swan says, excuse me for not taking the word of someone who's not exactly reliable right now. So I'm gonna make the safe bets, Fendel.
Look, 3 things. 1, Findel's super reliable. I trust Findle with a lot. 2, Atlas, that's like your dad. So we should, check on him, despite what you're going through. And 3, I need to use the little boy's room.
Well, 1, yes. 2, yeah, I'll go to Riverside, but I don't feel like tromping all over creation. Just because.
We just go to Riverside, check on your dad, then we tell them that we went to the other places. It doesn't matter.
And 3, go ahead.
Okay, I'll be right back. Not to sleep.
Listen, guys, I'm super interested in what you got going on. But you're sending just 3 of us? I mean, what do you think that we're gonna do?
Save the fucking world if pressed.
All I ask is you go to these towns and get them to send a message back. Just to check in. I'm not asking you to go and start a war or fight in this war for us, but we have soldiers for that. You guys aren't exactly soldiers, so I was hoping you could at least run an errand.
Yeah, we owe it to the people here who have fled to these other towns too, to let them know. Hopefully we'll clear this out and their home will be their home again.
You can go separately for all I care as long as you go check on the towns. Get them to send a message back. I just want to know everywhere is safe. We know Yuri is safe. But I'd like to check on the other towns.
Okay. I'll confer with the boys, and I don't think we'll have a problem. We just probably need to come up with a plan.
Excellent.
Excuse me.
Oh, here he is again.
Can't you just use magic? Can't you just scry your dudes?
Who are you talking to specifically?
Svan.
Can't I scry my dudes?
Hey Frost, can you scry his dudes for him, please?
And Frost says, most of my magic is point to point with my guys, but we could probably set up a portal for one of the towns.
Just scry them.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we probably could work that out. I just don't know how well it'll go. Not exactly my bag.
Okay. Admittedly, I don't know that spell either. Even with my new magical powers, it just didn't seem relevant to me. But somebody does, right?
Oh, for sure, absolutely. We could deal with that.
Does.
We could. Definitely something we could do. However, I'm more concerned that these things detect magic. They seem to be beasts of magic. So, doing it the old-fashioned way, sending a message by bird, seemed a little bit safer.
You would know better than I.
I wish that was... He totally wishes that were the case. He doesn't. He doesn't know better. He's the new guy.
Well, then maybe consider scrying them. I don't...
If I remember correctly, you invited me to be the newest new guy.
That was a quick pee, Rowan.
It only takes about 21 seconds for mammals of our size to pee that long. Regardless. How long you think?
That's true.
Well, if you could do that all the same, that would be very helpful. If not, let us know and we'll figure something else out.
I don't know what
sounds like some R&R for me. Fucking let's roll. Hey, what are we gonna do? Sit around here and listen to fucking people cry around a bonfire about their shop that got burned down? Fuck it.
Yes, Rowan. That's exactly. You're right. We do not. That was very heartless of you to say.
You're right.
You are right.
I'm sorry.
That is about the only thing that's going to be talked about here for a long time.
It's true. It's sad, and I'm sorry for it. But if we can go check on these other towns and make sure they're all right, then we can come back and help this town as best we can.
Yeah.
So, respectfully, I've got some things to do that aren't that.
I understand.
Uh-huh.
One is pretty good. Got one, took care of that, and now I've got other things. I'm sure you'll be able to handle it. I feel like you're very capable, and whatever issues that may or may not be out there, I'm sure you can handle. But I have some business.
Findle Frost, let my friends and I confer for the day, and we will come back to you with an answer in the morning.
And Svan says, "No, go do what you must. I understand. I will get one of the other soldiers to take care of this task. I understand if you can't commit. I understand if you can't help in this manner.
C word.
But go on, you must have important things to do, and we have important things to discuss."
Like he wrote me off pretty quick there. All right. Hammer the nails, Fawn. Remember Castle Capel? It's fine.
That's a great question. Do you remember Castle Capel?
And Svan says, "Bits and pieces. It's been a long time since I've fought that battle."
I point to all of us. I was like, huh?
And he looks at you guys and says, "I kind of thought it was a dream, but you guys are saying things that make me think it's not, and that's... You would think with our history, you would run a simple errand for me, but I understand."
I mean, that's a simple errand. We got sent there by a god to help you succeed in that endeavor because you had greater things in front of you. So if I don't want to walk to a town, I'm sorry.
Especially when you could just fucking scry them. Is Steve okay?
We've
Level
evolved
2
past
spell.
the scrying.
He's fine.
There's no crystal balls left. There's no still clear water. We've got to deal with that right now. That's a bigger issue. There's not even clear water right now. There's no scry. It's just not possible. There are spell components that you need. You don't have them.
And whatever happened to John the Goodman?
What did happen to John the Good?
They walk away from the table. They walk away from the table. Your NPCs are done with your story. They walk away from the table.
Oh.
Alright, boys, well.
I think we need to have a heart-to-heart. It sounds like there's some conflicting endeavors here.
I mean, it's not really anything conflicting. We're going back to Yori, right?
Boys, I'm not going back to Yori.
Yeah, I don't need to go back to Yori.
Thought we were going, but we've got like these guilds, and there's like a whole thing going on there, and I've got some... That was always the plan, right? To go back to Yori?
That's probably your plan, my friend. And maybe that was the plan before this whole attack happened. I've got to figure out who caused the doors. Maybe as I pass through towns, I will send word back about what's happening, but I will find out what the origin of these doors was, and I will destroy whatever that is. I will also find out who Edis is, and I will destroy him. And I will find Kendra Ironclaw, and I will kill him. I have a lot of things I have to tend to.
It's mostly one thing with a bunch of people, but I mean, don't you think the Red Sun would probably be the best people for that? Like,
well, I'm sure I'll have John give me some advice, but it's something I must do.
Okay, Rowan, you're coming back to Yori, right?
Well, there's a bigger cost to pulling us out of there with wind. You guys know, I've got a debt to square up. As much as I would love to, I don't have the time.
Wait, so we're not gonna be together anymore?
For a time?
Maybe just a little while. I mean, I'm sure I'll come back to Urim as I'm traveling.
I mean, it can't take more than a couple weeks for him to track down some fucking thing, whatever it is.
A month tops.
Yeah, he just has to find an iron claw. You could probably even make one. And I just have to go get a thing, probably. It's a couple weeks tops.
I mean, what will you be doing? What are you going back to Urim for? I guess just at the school you're in.
Is it windy?
It's not windy. I have to make something very special and important. Can only do it in Yori.
Mind if we ask what it is?
It's a weapon.
Ooh, interested in that.
As am I.
It's a weapon pointed directly at the heart of all those who take their power for granted, and all those that would hurt the people they're trusted to protect.
I get it.
Nobility.
Yes,
Not just
specifically.
aimed at nobility, but the cause itself of nobility.
Yeah.
It shouldn't take that long, right?
But what if it does? What if we don't ever see each other again?
Oh, that'd never happen.
I mean, Wynn definitely wouldn't let that happen. Wouldn't you say, Rowan?
I mean, probably not. I don't really. I mean, we hang out from time to time, but
Last time I interacted with Wynn, he showed me my father, and that was very special. But the time before that, he showed Rowan my death, my future inevitable death.
oh, that was forever ago. Last time I talked, well, not the last time I talked to him, it was probably like 4 times ago. He showed us leading an army, which kind of just happened. So everything from now on is kind of our own choice, I guess.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah, because he showed us leading an army. And
But
we did.
we didn't really lead that army.
You came up with the plan, and we were in the front of it. It's kind of leading.
Oh, I mean, all right.
And when I tell the story, it's exactly what I'm saying. Led the army against the demons and closed the door.
I'm gonna miss you, boys.
We're not leaving yet.
We are.
We have a long day. It's noonish. I'm almost done drinking this bottle. There's a lot of day left.
I just wanted to say that before I came here to Oxbane, I had everything. And shortly after that, I had everything in the world taken away from me. I lost my home. I lost my family, my brother. Everything that was important in life was taken from me. But when I came here, I found those things all over again. I found a home. And I found a family. And I found the best brothers you could ever hope for.
You better shut your mouth right now. And stop right there. Because you're acting like this is a goodbye, and it's not a goodbye.
You never know what's going to happen. Really gonna miss you guys.
Yeah, well, a month tops. We'll be back. Right, Rowan?
It makes sense. Things can't take that long.
The world's
Well,
not
that's
that
like
big.
I don't like a month away from you guys either. I mean, I have had a family of my own either in years, and you guys are pretty okay.
Why don't we do this for old
You
times?
have such a way with words, you bawdy bastard.
Why don't we have a big nice meal tonight at the campfire where we forged Rowan's weapon.
That's
Talk
right.
about-
It's
talk-
all of us.
Talk about the times we had. And in the morning, we'll part ways.
And could we invite everybody? We'll invite all the...
Yeah, I mean, it seems like there's enough sadness going around and there's not a whole lot of good times. And so
Let's
it's
have
a
a
cause for
party.
celebration. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's have our victory.
That seems like a pretty alright party.
And so the three of you stand there, kind of forming a triangle almost, and it's almost like that moment is like kind of frozen in time, and superimposed behind each of you is the respective god who's kind of been involved with your life. So like Rowan behind it's like this cascading artwork of Wen and his his leafy wings and his simple mask, and behind Rowan is not Rowan, Kristoff, which is like this trio, right? Like it's a small boy and a younger girl who's like trained to fight, and then the shadow of a silver dragon, and then behind Atlas is Alaria, and then behind her is this like shadowy figure, and then behind that is Etis, the giant wolf, the metal wolf.
God, it's like a kaleidoscope of
He's
fucking
a
evil.
fucking like Russian doll, so fuck you.
Yeah. And you guys decide to throw a party. So describe this like bonfire scenario to me. This is your party to make, boys.
I make the biggest bonfire this side of whatever river is closest to here.
Yeah, but instead of using like trees, you just use like broken shovels from Yarg's Forge.
No, he uses whole trees that he chopped down with
Whole
those
trees.
shovels.
With the
Yes.
shovels, yeah.
One swing.
I grab the Rough Boys and Eckenbar, and we go on a freaking salvage mission into town and get all the booze. We get all of it. We're like going through the ruins of the Red Roof Inn. We're going through the ruins of the Golden Buckle. We're just like really going to town, and we find all the booze and we like carry it back gleefully, like chucking empty bottles at monsters' heads.
Yeah, so I imagine that's how that works out, right? Like, you guys definitely don't, like, straight up confront anyone, but it's, like, tomfoolery every time these demons, like, or these, like, fiends or monsters, like, come near you. It's, like, ball bearings being thrown,
Yeah.
Donkey Kong-style
Grease,
barrels being
yeah.
rolled. Yeah, exactly. And you guys come back with just, like, a metric shit ton of alcohol.
I'll be preparing songs about every single person there. True and false.
Mostly false.
Mostly false. And just in the best light possible.
But yes, it's a big time. Lots of food, big fire, lots of warmth. And just laughs. All stories. I tell stories about Yarg and working with him and how he was a ball buster at times, but he always meant well. And he always wanted the best for me, no matter what was going on. Not only did he offer work advice and teach me some things I didn't know, but he taught me real life things and even how to talk to girls, even though I'd never done that.
Now look at you talking to dead girls and stuff. You upped your game.
Yeah.
He would be so proud.
Even the Veil of Death doesn't stop his game.
That's dead.
And so we smash cut to the bonfire. And there are NPCs and friends that you know, and some people you don't know from Yuri. Not everybody wanted to come because other people chose to go on a mission in Oxbane. Other people are just healing. But yeah, who do you guys want to interact with? Kind of have like a little social moment, and then we'll head into the end of the episode. Hey there, listener. It's me, Dwayne, your DM. And I really wanted to say thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for being a part of our podcast. It's pretty amazing just in general. The amount of support that we get, the amount of people who actually enjoy our podcast is an unreal amount of people. And I wanted to say thank you so much, because this podcast and this community has become such a large part of my life, and it felt wrong not to just take a minute and say thank you. And I don't think that's enough, but it'll have to do for now. So to every lawful stupid person out there, I just want to say thanks for like making my day every single day.
Do you have a list of all the NPCs you've ever created?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
obviously, I do.
Alphabetical.
Okay, sure. Let me just get that list up, and we'll just start alphabetically. So everybody, as you're listening,
Can you do about
we're
when
gonna
they
start
show
with.
up in the story too, not just alphabetically, but
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's probably actually easier.
Yeah, actually, can we get like a short description?
Yeah, also easier.
Okay, so
because I mean,
I'll pick my top tier. Avia. Now I'm doing it, you son of a bitch.
first names are fluid, genders are next.
Yes. Avia.
No, I mean pretty much like pick any of the NPCs you've been interacting with the past few days, and you can talk to one of them. Like,
Well, just one of them?
Just
we're
one.
gonna do one moment. We only have so much time left in this
There's
episode.
Avia, Wendy, and Spawn.
Okay, everybody can have two, but then they're shorter. You can have two shorter interactions, or you can have one long interaction. We have things to do, boys. It's gonna be a longer episode already.
Okay.
All right, so who's up first?
Rowan's up first. Go ahead,
Rowan
Rowan.
it is.
Tell me you want to interact with.
I want to interact with Findle.
Good call.
No, great. Okay. Yeah, no, I love it. I wasn't prepared for that, but I love it. So I think Rowan, you're sitting there playing the lute, giving everybody some good jams while we're around this like massive bonfire. I like to think this bonfire is like, I don't know, 15 feet in diameter, and it's just like this roaring fire. And had you guys not been so victorious, you might actually be worried about it attracting the enemy. But you know, there's like a night mission going on, and you already have some distance between you and the fiends. And so you're playing this music, and there's a sound of people and happiness and laughter, and there's people dancing, and there's plenty of alcohol. And I think that Sir Jodo and Gid had put up like these weird like spits over the fire, but like the first time they did a pig, it's just like crisp, and like, oh man, bad call. So then they like got them near these spits near the fire, and we're like cooking pig, so everybody's like eating pig, and it's just like a great time.
Yeah.
And so Findle sits down next to you, and he says, "Beautiful music, Rowan. Thank you so much for playing for us."
No, Findle, thank you. You've done a lot.
Kind of you to say, but I'm not sure how much the helping outweighs the hurting.
You know what? I take the loot and I move it a little bit so he can get a little touch of that.
And I think the first time he touches it, he puts his hand, because I imagine he's sitting on your left. He puts his hand like on the neck of it, and you kind of see the clarity roll over him a little bit, and he says, "Do you mind if I?" And kind of motions like towards the whole loot.
Have at it.
And so he takes it into his hands, and he kind of plays like a simple like child song. Like you as a bard would know that it's almost like Goron's version of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
Yeah.
Like it's like that common, and he's kind of playing it. And he says, "Conversations with Wen, fiends, artifacts. You've seen a lot quite recently, Rowan. How are you holding up?"
Oh, I'm good. Ain't nothing but a thing. How are you holding up?
And Findle laughs and kind of laughs under his breath, and he says, "You know, you don't always have to be so lackadaisical about it."
Don't we though?
It can be hard. And he kind of laughs and he says, "It's certainly easier than talking about it. That's for sure."
We can. If you want to do this, we can talk about it, but things happen. I see something going on with you and that dragon. I have a terrible suspicion that something might happen with me in this loop, but...
And he looks at you and says, "It is both a gift and a curse to have an artifact, Rowan. And it's... Honestly, the very magic that... It's the only reason I'm here."
It's true. I mean, things are what they are. Everything's a gift and a curse. God, the knowledge that we exist is a gift and a curse.
And Findle smiles and says, "Used to be like that.
Oh, you
Used to be just like that."
still are. I see you for you.
And he says, What will you do next?"
That's a good question. I usually don't think past the moment. I guess that...
And he says, "Eventually, Rowan, if life has taught me anything," and he kind of looks at Piper, the silver dragonling that kind of is like perpetually around his neck or on his shoulder, says, "You'll learn that those moments, they're all you get, but they're not all you'll want."
That's once. Once are one thing. Memories are another. Things that actually are a totally different thing altogether. You just have to take it. Everybody gets a
And
lifetime. That's enough, right?
He says, maybe it's different being an elf, but our lifetimes are a little bit shorter than yours, and I'm lucky to have such an extended one at a cost. And bearing an artifact is not glamorous for everyone. And especially to be bearing one of Wen.
Not unless you make it glamorous.
And he kind of laughs and he says, "Rowan, is there any way I can help? Is there something I can do for you?"
No, you just keep being you. And I'll always remember you for you. You just remember me for me. So I'm going to be telling a lot of stories. They're not exactly going to be all me. But you'll know.
And he says, there are plenty of stories out there. And I hope at the end you find your own.
Talking about Findle, we're in my own right now. You're in it. They're in it. Everybody's in it.
And he kind of like, he plays out the rest of that child's song and kind of hands you the loot back. And as you can kind of see the transformation start to take place, he says, "I hope you stay safe, and I hope the path you take is one of yours."
I think it will be, Findle. I think it will.
And Findle kind of looks at you and says, "Do you know the one about the mage and the mouse?"
No, tell me immediately.
"Oh, great. It's one about a mage and a mouse, and he's chasing around his shop." And this, like, goes on and on as we move over to Atlas.
I would like to go and see John of the Red Sun.
Okay. Yeah, so John is like one of the more rigid boys at this party, like where everybody else kind of letting loose, and you know, he's denoted by his red cape, and he's drinking, but he's certainly not by any means like cutting super loose.
Yeah.
And he says, as you approach, unless you want to start the interaction.
What is his title? Does he have a title? I guess I should have.
Should have just like paid attention to him when he talked to you, like every other time. No, yeah, you're right. Like, let me go look that up for you. No, I don't think he has an official title. Let me see. Give you all that. Oh, he's a captain. He's a captain of the Red Sun.
Okay.
So he'd be Captain Odom.
Okay, because I want to use his title.
And steal it from him and just become him after you murder him.
Body thief. And say,
I will wear his skin.
good evening, Captain.
And John says, Atlas,
How
are you?
Take a seat next to him. I guess he's sitting. Is he sitting?
Yeah, he's sitting on like a log.
Cool.
One of the many logs you chopped up with your shovels.
Cool. I want to sit next to him and say, I wish I could say I was doing better. I just have like a void or a pit that seems to just eat at me right now.
And he looks at you and says, you should walk the path of the light. Follow Sinlor. He'll keep you from such a pit.
Well, what's wrong with the pit?
It's where darkness comes from, Atlas. Surely you understand, being one of the Red Sun, that pit, that woe, that misery, that's where hatred comes from. That's not what we're about, Atlas. No, that is rationalizations of weak-minded criminals. We do. What makes you think we allow this? We came here to fight, Atlas. We came here to stop it. Everywhere shadows rush and the darkness approaches, the light, we will be there to meet it.
I don't know. I have to know where it all came from. And I guess I just want to know what you thought about, where to start. I want to be a Red Sun and I want to fulfill the duties of a Red Sun, but I just need to know where to begin.
That sounds like a loaded question, Atlas, because I'm going to toe the line. You begin with the Red Sun, you learn, you follow Sinlor, you defeat fiends, and you fight off the evils of the world, and you can't embrace whatever hatred you're dealing with. And I think as you're sitting there, that like tree that you're sitting on, like the one that you like freshly cut down, is like kind of starting to wilt under you. Like it's starting to like gray and age as you like sit on it and you're touching it, because like you're bare bottomed on it essentially. Mm-hmm. And like you super noticed that.
Well, maybe it's not that easy, John.
And John says, well, it's a heck of a lot easier to just give up. To just embrace the shadows. To embrace hatred. It's a lot harder to walk out of the shadows into the light.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I can see what you're saying. But I think walking with the shadows and not into them is a possibility as well.
And John says, what you're talking about, Atlas? Walking that line like that? It's a dangerous game. It's a fool's errand, really.
What centers you at the end of the day? What keeps you sane? From knowing that the beasts that are out there in the world and the things that are allowed to exist.
And John, like, you see him, like, when you say that, like, they're allowed to exist, like, you can see him, like, the mugs that he's, like, holding in his right hand starts, like, cracking a little. Like, he's, like, gripping it. And he says, allowed to exist? You know what keeps me sane, Alice?
And I'll just
that my death will be the line between those fiends, those demons, and that evil. That'll be the line between their death and destruction and the next little girl. Listen. I had my family taken by these monsters, and it'll be my life before I allow them to take any more. And until my dying breath, that is my center. I suppose you have to find your own, but don't walk a path you can't come back from, friend. I think you both sit in silence together for a while and kind of just like finish drinks, and then when you walk away, both of you notice that like the side of the log that you had sat on has kind of like shrank and decayed and severely aged, and the side he sat on is like very normal and very healthy. And like the two of you catch eyes as like you're walking away, but neither of you speak a word about it. And we're gonna move over to Kristoff. And that's all the time we have for this episode.
Yeah, that's about right.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Gotta talk to Avia, yeah?
Yeah, sure. So I like to think that Avia has had a couple drinks, and she is now like laughing and making like arcane like fireworks for some of the like people that are like dancing and stuff like that. Mostly you kind of see on her face that's mostly so people will leave her alone and she can just stand away and like cast magic tricks. Also because she absolutely loves doing magic.
So she's holding a glass, yes?
Oh, of alcohol? Absolutely.
So I'm gonna mage hand my drink around so that it's like in front of her, and it's gonna like ting, like cheers. Yeah. Meanwhile, I will be behind her.
Yeah, so you like do that, and she's a little like disoriented from being a little drunk, and also like it's weird that somebody mage hands around her. That's like violating her personal space, but she's kind of like tipsy, so it's more funny than anything else. Like she doesn't like register that. It's just a surprise. And she turns around, she's like, "Oh, Kristoff, you startled me."
Cheers. It's a party.
Yeah, it is a party. It's good that everyone can relax. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, all things considered, it's due, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. How are you?
I'm apprehensive, to be honest. I've got an interesting road ahead of me, and I'm not going to have Rowan and Atlas with me.
That seems strange. You three seemed really close.
Yeah, we haven't actually known each other that long, but we've been through a lot in the time that we've had together.
I should say so.
But we're just on different paths right now, so it's going.
And where does your path take you?
Back to Yori. Something I have to do there.
What are you going to do? Sorry, I wouldn't have thought Yuri. What are you doing in Yuri?
I'm going to. I've been drinking a little bit, but I'm gonna start my own guild, Avia.
And she kind of laughs a little more heartily than she should probably at that. And she's still. I think that might have come up wrong. I've definitely been drinking, but why? That doesn't really seem like your thing.
There isn't a guild right now that does what I need it to do, so I'll have to make it myself.
And she says, more than a little interested, says, and what kind of guild are you looking for that doesn't already exist?
One that shows people who haven't been afraid for a very long time that they have a reason to be afraid. One that stops the people above from stepping on those below.
And when you say that, her eyes like widen, like there's this level of disbelief, and she says, "You should really be careful when you say things like that."
I guess you're right. Maybe I'm just too deep in my cups, huh?
Listen, I'm a traveling witch, mageess, sorceress, whatever word you want to call it, and I've seen plenty on my time on Goron, but the last time I remember people talking this way, it didn't end well. And while Orenthal is an open place, most people in power don't respond well to those types of conversations, Kristoff.
There's more than one kind of power, Avia. You should know. You're one of the most powerful people I know.
And she kind of like, when you say that, it almost makes her sad. Like she looks down, and this face of guilt falls across her, and she says, I don't think my power has much to do with anything, honestly, but you're not wrong that there's issues with the world, and that has a large bit to do with why I refuse to stay anywhere and why I joined the Murphys.
It's not exactly the least dangerous road that I'm walking. I could use someone with power like yours.
And
if you ever did want to be in one place for a while.
And she kind of like the two of you are drinking, and she kind of like snaps her fingers, and your drinks kind of refill, but they're more like they're kind of like glowing, right? Like the arcane torrent blue.
Sorceress in the world.
And she like giggles to herself and to you and says, "Listen, you don't stay a pirate with magic without being able to give people booze. That's like one of the first things drunk pirates ask for, but maybe we should." And she kind of like motions, and you guys motions for you guys to like go further away from the group, and she says, "Listen, I'm not a politician, and I'm certainly not somebody who wants to play the games of courts or royalty. What are you suggesting?"
I want to scare. I'm not trying to do a coup. I'm not trying to take over. I've had my share of crowns and ruling, and I'm done with that. But there's people out there who just are routinely being mistreated by people who have taken a solemn oath, who have a sacred responsibility to protect them. And they don't know what to do. They're powerless to resist. Someone has to be championing them. You have the Red Sun to take care of the demons from other planes. You've got the Arcanists who take care of mysteries from beyond our understanding and beyond our time. There needs to be a guild out there that takes care of the monsters that we see every day.
And when you're talking, she's like drinking this cup, and so much to the point that hers is almost empty. And it's not like this like panic drink. She's listening and she's drinking. You can tell like she knows this drink, right? Like this is her thing. And she says, And you want me to join you on something like that?
Yes. If you would be interested, I think that there's more to you than you realize there is to you. And I think that you could do a lot better. How you currently, I know it's your life and I know you chose it and there's nothing wrong with it. But I just think that you could do so much good.
And she like steps backwards, kind of away from you, and as you say that, and she says, "Listen, if it's just my power you want, I'm not interested."
It's not just your power, it's you. I've gotten to know you for a while now, and you're not just powerful, you're smart. And you care about the people around you. You don't like to show it. I know, I'm very much the same way. But every single person around you, you care about. And you want what's best for them, whether they're smart enough to realize it or not. You are. And so you try to look out for them. There's a lot more people that need looking out for than those aboard the ship name, the Drunk Sun.
The Drunken Sun. Yeah,
Hey,
good job.
nailed it. Then aboard the Drunken Sun, there's people out there all over the world who need somebody to look out for them. I know you could do it. You could help me.
And the last scene we see of Kristoff and Avia is Avia stepping forward and her handing Kristoff the letter back, and as she does so, she says, "Well, if I'm going to join you, I won't need this for a while." And then you guys spend the rest of the night, I think, playing music and drinking, and I think there's definitely a game at some point where First Mate Zell and Atlas are like tossing Gid and Sir Jodo over the fire, and just like see, and like the first person to drop them, and like the more you drink, and like they're playing that game, and you can hear everybody yelling, and at first it's funny until it goes super poorly.
I would like to prepare an action to cast Frostbite on the fire if one of them gets dropped into it.
I think at some point, like you do that, but you're so drunk, like you miss the fire, but like make this weird, like dangerously inappropriate for anybody ice slide, and like Gid like does this like weird like rolling slide down and crashing into like some like logs and stuff like that, but like everybody's laughing, and you know, the drinks, the laughter, the songs, and the stories go into the night, and we watch the embers in the fire kind of burn. And you boys wake up, and it's daytime, and you kind of decide to say your parting ways.
I am Kristoff.
So early.
Too early.
Rise and shine, boys.
Not ready yet.
And so for the sake of time, we smash cut through this wake up and hangover, and you guys are getting ready, and you're all standing together over the forge, and people have left, and there's still a mess, but it's just you three who remain. And you guys say your goodbyes.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. That's two goodbyes.
Yeah. Well, it's not goodbye forever.
No.
It'll be no time. We'll be back where we were.
Of course, you both know at this point that in my heart I consider you both true friends. So if you should ever be in trouble,
Whisper
you
your
should
name,
need me, simply whisper my name and I shall be there.
and I will grab my pack and I will walk away.
And so you do that. You two boys want to wrap up?
Rowan? You make sure you're running in the right direction.
I don't think there's a wrong direction. Nothing is as it's been, but makes your face like it.
Listen, we both came to Oxbane. I put my hand on his shoulder. We both came to Oxbane because we were running away from something. It's time we started running towards things.
It's a good sentiment. I like that.
And I hope that after what we're doing now, the next thing I'm running towards is you, buddy.
There's no other place to. Those are
I love you, and I leave.
So you guys,
And I take out my pendant to Dragon.
you should break it in half and hand the other one to Fendel. No, who's like half asleep
I go
somewhere.
to hand it to Rowan. Psych, nerd! Fendel, go long!
Yeah,
throw my
So-
fucking copper bracelet in the dirt.
it explodes. The three of you part ways, and Atlas heads towards the woods, satchel in hand, with Ilaria next to him. Not behind him, not superimposed over him, but walking beside him. And you have Kristoff, who turns and leaves and is walking toward the town of Oxbane, or would be the town of Oxbane. And further in the distance, you can see he is greeted by Abia, who's holding his pack for him, like outstretched, waiting for him. And the last we have Rowan, who like plays a song as you guys leave, and when you both make it out of his vision, he puts it together, or puts his loot back on his back and picks up his bag or his pack and walks away. And when he's walking away, you almost see like petals and roses and tulips slowly budding as he's walking. And each of you, for the first time, begin to make your own ways.
Walking fast. Oh, bam.
Faith.
And then the view changes. And the world shifts. And we see someone familiar. But they look different. It's almost like when you're having a dream and you place a face or a person, and you see this tiefling over a table in a dark room, and above the tiefling there's these magical orbs of light that hover, cascading shadows and this eerie luminescence in this makeshift office. And this silver mask reflects off the light as it bounces through the room and off papers and off this glass of almost transparent red wine. And you see the silver masked tiefling read a letter. And there's this anger to it, and he sits it down and he picks up another letter, and just more frustrated by the last. And I think he maybe reads one aloud to himself in the room as he's doing so.
Don't really know how to start this letter. Dear Mr. Silver Serpent? I don't really know the title. I'm a scullery maid in the town of Heimerdinger, and I don't know who else to turn to. It's our Lord Byron. He's become so angry since his wife passed, and he beats us, and he withholds our pay, and he withholds our food, and we don't know what to do. And I heard about what you did. And I just thought maybe I didn't have anywhere else to turn. I hope this letter finds you well.
And I think the Silver Serpent slams the letter down and picks up another one and reads another one.
Hey there, Mr. Silver Serpent. It's me, Sheriff of Townville. You ought to know, our Lord has been preparing for war. We don't know how, we don't know why, we don't know with whom, but I suspect it's the neighboring fiefdom of Villetown. And I think that, well, this war ain't gonna do nothing but line his pockets, and lots of good men are gonna die. So if you're into doing that thing that I heard that you're into doing, let us know. We could use a Silver Serpent on these parts, Townville.
And he slams that letter down, and then he reads another one, and it begins with, Silver Serpent, I hope this reaches you, and maybe you're the person for it. But our king, he's becoming abusive, and you slammed, the Silver Serpent slams the letter down, and the next one, Silver Serpent, please help, slams it down, and he does this for more letters than seems wildly appropriate. And he's reading a letter more carefully than most, and that's when the door kind of creaks open, and it reveals Avia. But not the Avia we remember seeing. Not the Avia with almost like pirate robes and this like carefree appearance. She's wearing noble clothes, and she's wearing nice garments and this traveling cloak that was clearly fastened for royalty, and like these beautiful traveler's gloves, and of course it's all in tones of blue and leathery browns, and she says, Kristoff, there's something you're gonna want to see.
I hope it's not more damn letters.
And she says, it's a message, all right. And she kind of walks in, and on her left traveler's glove, there's a like raven sitting, made of like shadows and smoky tendrils. And she kind of reaches her arm out, and the raven like leaps from the glove and bats its wings real hard and like strikes you in the face. And like you begin to see this vision, and then the view changes, and this dark cellar, this makeshift office disappears and falls away in fragments, and we find the world pieced back together, and there's snow falling, and it's thick, and it's obscuring the very view of anyone who dares try to march through something like this. Seeing 5 to 10 feet in front of themselves is difficult, much less past that. And we see a large orc who is battle-clad in armor and is wearing this red bandana wrapped around his head and covered by this metal mask. And the parts of him that are exposed to the elements almost blend in with the snow. And our viewpoint shifts to face Atlas, and he takes off this helmet, and we see as he kind of like blinks, taking off the mask, his left eye open, and we notice that his right one is shut with a scar over it, and his hair is long and messy and covered in ice, and his beard is almost a little disgusting from like the march through the snow and him weathering the very weather itself. And we hear Atlas cry out to the world.
How long has it been? How long must I go on fighting against myself and the evils in this world? Laria, what good is it all?
She's going to say, why you? Why us? But more so, you did it. You became stronger.
Became stronger? What do you think becoming stronger is? To lose my eye? To the very man that keeps your soul captured in this sword? How is that stronger?
She stands in front of you. She appears, and her appearance is different. It's more solid. It's more who she was. It's not this weak form that she has shown before. She's in that leather battle armor that she had worn in when you replayed out her memories. And she says, You're your own person, Atlas. And the things you've done, they're great. What do you mean? What have you done? What do you mean? I don't understand.
Strength comes from being the strongest. That's what strength is. It's having the right answers. It's knowing exactly what to do. Here we stand on this mountain, 2 years from the time we set out, with nothing to show from it.
And she says, I said that you became stronger. I did. I said those words, and I needed you to be stronger, and you've become closer than anyone else, and we've become closer. And there's something missing. There's more to it.
I'm not following.
You don't realize. You don't get it. This curse on me, it's a curse on you too. I was bound to this sword long before you ever showed up. Ever appeared. And it's my fault. My desire for vengeance, my need to put those who have done any wrong on me to want to do that back to them. It was my own undoing. And in fact, Kenra wasn't to blame for any of this. I was. Or whatever consumed him. Whatever. That's not the point. The thing I relied on to get my vengeance, my family's sword, it's my prison. And it's your prison. And of course strength is killing. It's by taking the lives of other, and you see her vision shift and break, and it's this darkness pouring over her and sliding off of her, and the white snow is this, it's almost like this absence of light is pouring around the two of you. This white pouring of this blizzard disappears, and she says, if you were going to prove your worth, it is by killing Kenra and everything that stands between us. And if there's some god, we'll kill it too. And all of the shadows like explode. And when they explode, this wave of darkness slides out. And you see her again, and she says, no. Strength is more than that. Strength is found in weakness. It's found in doing things that others can't or won't do. Strength is found when you think everything's gone or that all hope is lost. It's something that everybody gives to you. And it's something that you gave to me, Alice.
And at that point in time, I am reflecting on Rowan and on Kristoff and on what they might be doing at that point. And I say, friends give you strength.
And as you and Ilaria are talking, and almost like it's a talk that you guys haven't had in a long time, so focused on this vengeance. This like trail of smoke pierces the blizzard and the whiteness, and this shadowy raven collides into your back, and the smoke pours through your chest and almost passes through to Ilaria, and you, this shamble and dirty orc in this white, pristine blizzard, you begin to have a vision. And the world fades away. The snow, the blizzard, the ice, it all melts from view. And we see wagons. And we see these tarped, covered wooden wagons. Almost a caravan of sorts. And we see the familiar loot in the hands of our most beautiful boy, and he's playing a song, and you can see around the caravan, these wagons are kind of encircled, and you see them playing music and songs, and Rowan's telling a story to these like small children, and I think it goes a little something like, it's your turn or I edit it out.
Okay, you're frozen on my screen too, so
No!
I can't. And that's when I said, "Get out of my room," to which he replied, "Get out of my mouth!"
And the three kids kind of look concerned, and you see like this elderly lady go, "Oh, I think that's enough. Time to go to bed," and rushes them off. And I think you tell more stories to the adults left at the fire. And there's stories that entrance people. There's stories that makes people cry. And as you're talking and telling this story, you almost hear like this rustling in the woods. And something to note, and something that is always different about this caravan, is your bonfires are always purple. They are purple in color, and they always spark, and they're always, it's almost like when you tell a story, they tell a story, and someone you've never seen sits down next to you as you're telling the story, and he's a man with a short red beard, and he's got long red hair pulled back into a ponytail, and he's wearing a traveler's cloak that is like this brown, and it's nice, and it's, you can tell it's thick. Like, it is not meant for decoration, it's meant for more. And
like with 2 C's thick.
And he sits down next to you and says, you must be that. You must be he who never kneels, and he who never bows.
That would be me. And who are you?
I'm a simple storyteller, a simple traveler. But I have heard your stories. Have I heard your stories? I am so excited to meet you.
Excited to meet you. Everyone's got stories. That's the point of this. Everyone's story gets told.
That's what they say about you. Is it true? Is it true that you met Win?
Meet with? It's not just past tense. We're on a first name basis.
You know, the towns I've passed through, they say nothing but wonderful things about Rowan the Bard, the man of stories, the bearer of purple flames. I'm honestly just thrilled that I have come across your camp.
Well, I'm more thrilled than any. I'm always welcoming a story. Do you have one?
And he looks at you and says, I'm sure my stories are not as interesting as yours, friend, and all of these people, they're not gathered for mine.
Well, that's the thing.
They're gathered for yours.
We're gathered for all stories, big and small. So if you've got a story, I've got money, I've got food. Whatever you need, it's yours.
And so, he turns and he says, have you ever heard the one about Ashenwing, the Fable Maker?
Can't say that I have.
And he kind of looks towards everybody and says, then I have just the story for you. And the night goes on and he tells his story, and it's a story like one you've never heard, because most of the stories that you're brought are family stories or stories of folk and legend, and nothing ever sounds as real and as strange and as intimate as his does. And I think at the end of the night, you two are just chatting, and you part ways, and your normal thing is to like pay gold or food, and he's just taking neither. And I think at the end you insist, right? Like you insist that he takes some gold,
Sure.
and begrudgingly he does. And you'll later find the next day that he leaves it on one of the caravans, and you're telling yourself the same story you tell yourself each night over the purple flame, but the words are lost in the wind. And you hear the lute strum. That's where we're gonna end, boys.
Oof.
You son of a... We knew it was coming all along.
I mean, we knew it, but still. The drama.
Hey, thanks everybody for listening to the season finale.
Curveball.
Yep, the season finale, season 1, arc 1. The death of the door. The knock on the door. Knock 'em dead.
The world's most fucked up knock
knocking
joke,
on
starring.
Wayne's door.
Yep. Knock who? Oh, I actually knock who's there? Knock on. Those are all so good.
Knock knock, who's there? Death of your loved ones. Death of my
Knock
loved ones
who's there?
Who? Yarg.
Oh.
Oh,
Yarg's a
wasn't
ghost
always
for
gonna
Halloween.
be
That's
Yarg.
discussion.
Cause when Devin roleplayed Yarg's death, he cried and it made me cry.
It's a true story.
Knock who's there? Everyone's tears. All of these are great, wonderful episode titles and season titles.
You know, just
That's
like Alice's old nickname was Ghost, and is it ironic that his mentor is now a ghost? / also his girlfriend is a ghost?
And his dad is a ghost.
damn.
We just found
Everyone
out.
I touch is a ghost.
Oh no.
Hey, so just real quick, I know we're doing the wrap up and this is not appropriate, but my audio cut out right as you said the last thing to Rowan, and I have no idea what you said.
Ooh, that's
excellent.
a
You can find
surprise.
out when the episode airs.
Dog, that ain't fair. I live the Star Wars.
Not today. But yeah, no. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to 41 episodes of our nonsense.
Of all the times that we've ever said, hey, go give us a rating on iTunes. This is like a complete product now. This is like a complete segmented product. You can go like, how was this? Not this episode. How was this story so far? This whole half of the story. Is that good for you? I don't know. Please tell me in the form of an iTunes review. Right now, I'll wait.
Yeah, we're here to learn from you.
We should have learned by now. I mean, like, dang.
We should
Why
have.
not?
We're not smart.
Not smart men.
We need
I'm just
direction.
now asking for reviews, like specifically about our product and not our podcast. So probably not.
If you don't tell me which letter to stop on, I'm just gonna keep licking the ABCs. It's just how we do.
All I know is that your reviews matter, and that's really what is the deciding factor on whether we get renewed or not for next season.
Yeah. If we don't
Nielsen ratings are real.
If we don't get 10 reviews by the time there's time to record the next episode, we just can't do it. We're just not allowed.
Yeah, it's true. iTunes will shut us down.
Yeah.
It's a rule.
Yeah, they'll send a cease and desist letter to all of our houses.
Yeah.
Kind of get syndicated, so if you could just
Yeah.
be cool.
It was like Steve Jobs' dying wish. Is like if people aren't putting out good products and getting reviews, they get banned from the Apple Store. So
I thought his dying wish was for robots.
He was like, no more fucking 2-star shit podcasts.
yeah, exactly.
Remember
Also, I
me.
should have went to the doctor sooner. No, I get it.
That doesn't apply to D&D podcasts. That's only for all the true crime podcasts, of which there are a billion.
I've got the direct quote right here from the stenographer, and it says, no more 2-star shit podcasts. It does not specify genre.
See, this is the
shit.
problem. If people would just be more specific about their like requests,
Yeah,
we wouldn't
their
have
dying wishes.
interpretation. There would be plenty of things in this world that like just weren't up for interpretation. It'd
Yo,
be great.
how long are we on this episode right now? 2 hours and 15 minutes. I don't think they want to hear our voices anymore.
That's true.
Well,
Uh,
Maybe they
hope.
do. I mean,
I hope so. That's really what we're banking on for season 2, right?
yeah, that's kind of our
Right?
skis, bruh.
We ain't getting renewed. That's
Okay,
fine.
great. Yeah. Thanks for listening, and thanks for joining us.
And our rule for humanity this month is...
Oh, it's first book. So first book, I'm going to make up some statistics right now. If this is completely made up, if you don't have an appropriate reading level by the time you go from elementary school to middle school, you're 65% less likely to graduate from high school than someone who is. So, like, it's really important that people start reading, kids, and start reading early. That's where first book comes in. It gives people their first book. It ensures that people that are in need and at-risk youths get books to just love them, just love books and to learn and to better themselves and get these rich vocabularies, you know, a very lengthy lexicon, if you will. And so that's what first book does. And I'm rolling for humanity, and it's $12 to first book. Thank you, first book.
Nice. I'm going to add a statistic to that and say that 100% people that cannot read cannot download this podcast and or operate the smartphone that they love. So you really should do first book.
Hey,
it helps you read.
So if you can't read and you want to listen to our podcast, have a loved one go ahead and subscribe for you. That way it automatically downloads all the new episodes. You can still listen. You
just look for the icons. Look for the icons. It's perfect.
You know what? Just to make this even longer than it needs to be.
Oh, please do.
Please do.
Like, everyone says that, like, all these different things, like, politics is power, but you can always buy politics, so money is power. But honestly, Thomas Hobbes had it right, where knowledge is power. Because if those people don't have the knowledge to express themselves, if you don't have the word to express freedom, or express rights, then you don't have that power. So knowledge really is power. Getting them those books makes this podcast go on even longer.
Second only
but always
to
return them
weapons.
to your friends. Always return them to your
and
friends.
And if you dog ear the fucking pages, you're a piece of shit.
Or tear them out to write down a note for a friend.
Look, just...
all that's bad too.
Yeah, don't rip out pages, but dog earing, like, I always think that's interesting. I'm like, what's on this page that they thought was so important?
That's fine if it's like a library book and it's not mine, but like I collect books, like I have a library and I like them to be in a decent condition because they're collectibles for me. And if you dog ear the fucking pages, it makes me sad. And maybe you do it all the time. And maybe you're my wife. And maybe...
So, guys, you guys want to play out?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Bye.
Bye. We love you.
Bye. Thanks so much for listening. Bye. Thanks so much for listening. Bye. Thanks so much for listening. Thank you for listening.